Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I've got to say, I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're looking at one of the most fascinating and honestly consequential geopolitical stories unfolding right now. We're going to take a completely impartial, data-driven deep dive into the complex race for Pakistan's critical minerals. And let me tell you, this isn't just about rocks in the ground. It's literally about the future of global supply chains. I mean, just think about that for a second. Washington, Beijing, and Riyadh. These are three totally distinct global capitals, each representing a massive power block. And right now, their attention is converging on a single, completely unexpected location, the rugged mountains of southwestern Pakistan. It's basically a modern-day resource race, and the chessboard is officially set. To really understand how this is playing out, we've structured a clear roadmap for our explainer today. We'll start by defining the global critical mineral race, then introduce our three main players, China, the US, and the Gulf. After that, we'll ground ourselves in the on-the-ground reality of Pakistan's internal hurdles, and finally, weigh the diplomatic leverage against the realities of actual mining. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The critical mineral race, the global problem. So let's dive into this global problem. To understand the local race happening in Pakistan, we first have to understand the strategic prize at the absolute center of the modern era, critical minerals. We're talking about antimony, rare earths, battery metals, the fundamental building blocks for literally everything, from the smartphone in your pocket to advanced missile guidance systems. But the reality is, China currently holds a massive, dominating grip on the global processing capacity for these materials. Because of that overwhelming dominance, the United States and its allies have spent the last few years aggressively scrambling to build alternative supply chains, ones that do not run through Beijing. Suddenly, Pakistan, a nation sitting on vast, totally unexploited reserves of copper, antimony, and rare earths, well, it's no longer just viewed through the lens of a struggling economy. It's been elevated to a premier strategic prize on the global stage. Section 2. China, the quiet incumbent. Now, when it comes to Pakistan's minerals, you've got to realize China isn't some brand new competitor that just showed up out of nowhere. Not at all. They are a quiet, infrastructure-heavy incumbent that's actually been on the ground extracting copper in Balochistan since 2002. They take a much longer-term approach, right? They embed directly into the supply chain rather than chasing splashy headlines. And that quiet strategy has yielded some serious results. Out of Pakistan's 6 active critical minerals projects, Chinese companies currently hold stakes in 4 of them. That includes the country's single largest producing copper mine. So they already have the physical footprint. And the numbers brilliantly illustrate just how deep that incumbent relationship really is. In 2024, Pakistan produced an estimated 24 to 46,000 metric tons of copper. But here's the crazy part. Practically 100% of that entire output was shipped directly to China. To solidify things even further, back in January 2026, the two nations launched the Pak-China e-mining platform that essentially integrates a dedicated minerals component right into the second phase of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Section 3. The U.S. Fast and funded. But you know, the playing field is shifting, and it's shifting fast. Enter the United States. If China is the quiet incumbent, the U.S. is the latecomer, arriving with massive capital to secure non-Chinese supply chains. And $1.3 billion is a staggering figure that represents a massive pivot. In February 2026, Washington approved that amount for the Reko Dig Copper Gold project. Now, this is just part of a much larger $10 billion U.S. initiative dubbed Project Vault, which is specifically designed to rebuild critical mineral supply chains entirely outside of China. And this isn't just government talk either. Actual American companies are making fast-paced, high-profile deals. For instance, the U.S. Export-Import Bank separately committed $1.25 billion for Reko Dig. Meanwhile, you've got Missouri-based U.S. Strategic Metals signing a $500 million deal with Pakistan's Frontier Works organization for a polymetallic refinery. Their very first shipment of rare earths is actually already en route. Then we have Nova Minerals buying over 100 tons of Pakistani antimony concentrate to process in Alaska, basically snapping up a massive slice of the country's official output. All of this is being coordinated globally under U.S. Secretary of State Rubio's Forge strategy. It's putting Pakistan right smack in the middle of a global American resource network. Section 4. The Gulf Wild Card. Which brings us to the third player on our board. Pakistan is actively and very strategically working to avoid a simple two-way contest between Washington and Beijing. How? By courting a strategic wildcard, Saudi Arabia and the Gulf. Saudi Arabia has floated up to $100 million toward Pakistan's mining infrastructure, and they've even hosted Pakistani delegations at their future minerals forum in Riyadh. Now, I know $100 million might sound like smaller money compared to the billions we just talked about from the US, but we have to remember the nature of Gulf sovereign wealth funds. They have a massive, proven track record of scaling incredibly fast once they make a firm commitment. For Pakistan, simply bringing the Gulf to the table creates absolutely vital diplomatic leverage. Section 5. The reality, security, and law. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the diplomatic excitement and all these billions of dollars floating around, but we really need to bring this explainer back down to earth for a minute. What actually happens when this foreign money tries to dig into the mountains of Pakistan? The crucial point is that none of this money flows easily because of some severe internal structural traps. First off, mineral rights in Pakistan are constitutionally a provincial matter, not federal. This means Washington and Beijing can't just shake hands at Islamabad. They literally have to negotiate directly with provinces like Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Just recently, in February 2026, the Balochistan High Court suspended the province's own Mines and Minerals Act over autonomy disputes. Second, there's the physical danger. The U.S. Embassy has openly pointed out that American firms require dedicated, localized security arrangements just to operate in these regions. And third, there is the legal chaos. Just wrap your head around this number. 2.4 million. That is the exact number of pending court cases currently in Pakistan's judicial system. Analysts at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, cite this massive backlog as a huge structural drag. If a mining contract goes wrong, trying to enforce it through a system with 2.4 million pending cases, well, it's a daunting prospect that no amount of diplomatic goodwill can magically fix. Section 6. Leverage versus reality. Which brings us to our final synthesis. We really have to weigh this tremendous geopolitical leverage Pakistan holds against the cold, hard reality of getting these mines up and running. Looking at the tail of the tape, this is a three-way courtship where momentum constantly fluctuates. China is the undeniable volume leader with steady, quiet expansion. The US is the new capital leader, injecting massive, fast-moving financing and some really high-profile private deals. And the Gulf? They serve as the strategic wildcard, giving Pakistan the ability to play multiple sides at once. But here's the thing. Leverage only gets you so far without execution. CSAI has highlighted a fascinating and honestly somewhat surprising data point. In the first half of 2026, China's global mining investment hit $21.8 billion worldwide. Yet, zero new qualifying Chinese investment was recorded in Pakistan during that exact same period. Analysts don't see this as a lack of interest, actually. They see it as a glaring signal. It tells us that despite all the hype, Pakistan urgently needs to produce processing-ready, bankable projects to justify fresh capital, even from their most established partner. Ultimately, Pakistan isn't just selling rocks. It's selling geographic leverage for the industrial inputs of the next century. But there's a brilliant think tank takeaway that really hits the nail on the head. Rivalries generate interest. Only institutions convert interest into shared national wealth. Which leaves us with an absolutely critical question to ponder as we watch this new great game unfold. Will Pakistan's institutions actually be strong enough to manage the provincial disputes, the security threats, and the legal hurdles to turn this massive geopolitical interest into lasting prosperity? Or will the chaos ultimately drive all three global powers away? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.